It looks like the Oklahoma City series is over as well. Oklahoma City up 3-1 right now. About 60% of the money on the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. Not too much risk on the total, kind of two-way action. Even on the side, there's not all that much action so far from the recreational bettors. Absolutely nothing that I've seen from the sharp accounts. They've been attacking the props much later in the day. They've been betting those NBA player props. They haven't done as well as WNBA player props, but that's kind of how they've been attacking these playoffs, with the occasional total bet, like yesterday on that under that didn't get there. Like I said, not too much one-sided action. It's on Oklahoma City. Historically, those teams close out the series tonight about 6 out of 10 times. So history's on the side of Oklahoma City. But like I said, good balanced action considering they're the favorite. Same thing in Florida versus Carolina in the NHL. Florida up 3-1. They're getting about 55%, close to 60% of the bets. Not all that one-sided. In fact, when plus 1 of 10 or better was on this board, you saw sharp bettors grab it. So they think this one's much closer to a coin flip, even though historically teams like Florida have closed it out at least 70+% of the time in this game tonight. So usually a team like Carolina is not able to extend it to a 6th game, at least historically. But that hasn't stopped the sharp bettors from picking off those plus 110s or better on Carolina. Personally, I think Florida shuts it down myself. Little baseball action for you already. 9:03 Miami plus 145. That's opposite the public. Public's heavily on the favorite there. Sharps took the dog and went over 8 up to minus 125. Also, Tampa Bay, game 9-10. Tampa, minus 105, minus 110, minus 115. They like Tampa Bay there. Also, Toronto, 9-18. Toronto from plus 35 all the way down to plus 125. And also laid up to minus 130 to go over 8. And then when they opened it at over the under juice, they also went over 8.5 at even money and 105. So they like runs in that Toronto game. Couple favorites for you. Dodgers, 9-17. Dodgers from 135 all the way up to minus 150. They were laying that chalk, and they laid it with Seattle as well from 180 all the way up to 190. And I'll give you another dog as well that I like. 905 Atlanta plus 140. And let's go with 929 under 8.5 Washington, Seattle, under 8.5 Washington, Seattle. So there's some NBA, NHL, and of course, Major League Baseball action for you guys. Hopefully you found some winners and all that, because Mateusz Gamrot has that name, like that guy that's going to wrestle you to death. No one wants to fight him because he's such a tough out. And here he is as the favorite against Klein. This may be a step up for Klein, but I don't think Gamrot should be this big of a favorite. I think this is a coin flip at worst. And here's why. Look at Gamrot. He's coming off a loss against Hooker, a split decision loss against Hooker. I know everybody's talking about, Dan Hooker, and he's the rejuvenated Dan Hooker. Slow down, dude. Who did he beat? He beat Puelas. He beat Turner, who's no longer in the UFC, and he beat Gamrot by split decision. Before that, he had lost back-to-back fights in 4 of his 5. So relax with the big, Hooker being like the guy at the weight class right now. And prior to that, he beat Dos Anjos, who has lost 4 of his last 5. He beat Fiziev, who's lost 3 straight. And he beat Jalen Turner, who's no longer in the UFC. Like, Gamrot's now 35 years old. He hasn't had his title shot yet. And he's fighting against Klein, who's coming in with a ton of momentum, a lot of confidence, has one of the best takedown defense, over 90% takedown defense, and has faced over 20-plus takedown attempts. So he's a guy that people have tried to take down and just can't do it. And he's got a pretty decent grappling game of his own. But in the stand-up, he's miles ahead of Gamrot. And this kid packs power. I think he could finish Gamrot inside the distance. I think he keeps this standing and he just starts picking Gamrot apart. And I think he's got way too much power. I like Klein at anything better than plus 110. And the fact Gamrot was almost a 2-1 favorite at one point made no sense. You're paying for the name and nothing else. And I also think Blanchfield gets it done against Barber. Barber's going to have to better. In the stand-up, Barber should look good, but Blanchfield's going to be able to take her down. That's the bottom line. And Barber gets controlled for like one of the 3 rounds, at least 33% of her minutes she spends on her back. And against Blanchfield, that's a recipe for disaster. I think the only good thing is it's 5 rounds, so each round starts with them standing. Barbara's going to have a shot. She's going to stuff some takedowns. She'll make it interesting. But at the end, I think Blanchfield gets the win. I think she wins by decision. A nice 4.5 with the over chalked. I like Blanchfield in the main event, and I like the dog in the co-main event. That's what jumped out at me right away.
Let's go to the NHL. Frederick Anderson, under 22.5 saves. This has been just an unbelievably great play. 9 games in a row. 9 games in a row under this prop. 20, 12, and 15 in this series. Ralph Michaels, yes, run first inning on the UFC. Nationals and Mariners, last 6 weeks, Mariners number 1 in yes run first inning at 61.4%. Nationals 3-0 UFC run on the road. Tokyo Brandon's got a prop out there. Noah Cameron over 16.5 outs for Cincy. Over 18 outs in each of his first 3 starts. So this is only 6 innings and 2 outs, I believe, to get over that one. That's Tokyo Brandon's write-up. So those plays are all available on the WagerTalk free picks page. So I know you guys are. I know some people have said, "Hey, lines, action, free plays." We have an entire page with free picks from all of our handicappers. So go there. There's going to be some plays that either are small plays on the card or that just missed the card. So if you want some more action, go ahead and check that out and make sure you're always betting responsibly. I thought Anthony Edwards looked hurt. It was either disengaged or hurt, but man, was he was awful in that last game. We got an over-under of 220.5. Oklahoma City minus 8.5. How do you see this game going?
I couldn't come to a firm conclusion on side or total, and very rarely do I drift into your hemisphere, which is player props. But I'm going to drift there tonight, Andy. I just feel like I'm on board with Julius Randle, points and rebounds, over 22.5. There's a sizable vig there, minus a quarter. But Julius Randle is like playing in his own playoff zigzag theory. He's doing it all by himself. Game 1, 28 points and 8 rebounds, total of 36 PNR. Game 2, right down the drain, 6 points, 5 rebounds, only 11. Game 3, bounce back, 24 and 4 for a total of 28. And in Game 4, right back down the drain, 5 and 7 for a total of 12. So if you're playing zigzag theory, Randall's due for a good game here. He's the true definition of playoff zigzag right now. Where the game is concerned and why I'm playing it this way, what I think sets up well for him, he averaged 26 points and rebounds per game this season, and he's actually 10 and 4 over this number that's given to us tonight in the playoffs so far. Played 14 playoff games, going over this number 10 times. He's very likely motivated. It's a back to the wall, 3-1 series deficit type game. I feel like he'll come out ready to play. That subpar performance of his last game really goes under the radar because 90% of the nation is talking about exactly what you led with. Anthony Edwards playing poor. There's no real focus on what Julius Randle didn't do in game number 4. That probably put a little bit of a tax on Edwards' numbers tonight. Probably softened Randall's numbers. I mean, you're talking about a guy who averaged 26 for a season, points and rebounds, and he's only asked to get to 23 here tonight. The old axiom that role players play better at home in the postseason especially, it just couldn't have been any more definitive than what we saw out of the Minnesota role players at home in games 3 and 4. I'm not sure that they play to that level tonight. In fact, you don't guarantee anything, but to play to this level, Andy, 2 games at Target Center, their 4 main guys off the bench, 6 through 9, 107 points, 60.7 from the floor, 63.3 from 3. Those guys, DiVincenzo, Alexander Walker, Terrence Shannon Jr., and Naz Reid. Boy, when they played in Oklahoma City, they didn't put up those numbers in the first 2 games. They only had 58 points, almost half of the 107 they had at home. Only shot 30.6 from the floor, 23.3 from distance. So to me, Minnesota needs their stars to carry the load tonight. Julius Randle being one of them. I think he probably will. Quick look and the play itself. He's going to be in an aggressive mindset tonight. I don't think there's any doubt about that where Julius Randle is concerned. His averages during this series, he puts up 13 shots a game. This is prior to his disastrous 4th game, right? The first 3 games, he puts up 13 shots a game. Almost 5 of those are threes, 4 free throws, 6 rebounds per. Those numbers allow for a potential of 41 points and rebounds. If everything goes his way tonight with those averages. The high end of the zigzag theory is activated here tonight, so I'm going to step in and say, yeah, Randall gets to those averages tonight, if not more. Probably puts up a few more shots, maybe gets a couple more rebounds, a couple more free throws. But all he needs to capitalize on those 41 potential points, if he plays to average points and rebounds, is 23.
Okay.
23, I think he can get 23 out of 41. So I'm there. I'm on Julius Randle to bounce back with over 22.5 points plus rebounds.
It looks like we got Lauer for the Blue Jays, Molly for Texas. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, well, Paxton Schultz gets a start for the Blue Jays. He's made 4 appearances this year, all in relief. His longest stint has been 4 1/3 innings this year. But, I mean, give him credit. I mean, over the 10-plus innings he's pitched, 2.53 ERA and a 106 whip. So he's pitched very well in the appearances he's been called upon. So it looks like Toronto's going to go bullpen by committee, Andy. And, I mean, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure that out after what I just said. And their bullpen's been very good over the last 7 games, a 2.78 ERA, a 102 whip. So in Texas, quite frankly, like Toronto right now, they can't hit their way out of a paper bag. I mean, the Rangers this year, 23-6 to the under at home, including 4-0 to the under in their last 4 at home. They've scored 3 runs or fewer in 7 of their last 9 games. Their last 7 games, a 183 team batting average, a 249 team on base percentage. That's absolutely horrible. And going back to Toronto, they've scored a combined 4 runs over their last 5 games, and they've been shut out twice. They're coming off a 2-0 loss at Texas last night. They're 5-0 to the under on the road this year after having a game where they had 4 hits or less. They had 4 hits last night, and 9-1 to the under on the road this year after scoring 2 runs or less. Give me Toronto, Texas to go under the total of 8.5. Yeah, the Yankees right now, minus 160 favored to total 9. You say Kikuchi gets the start for the Angels. He has a very impressive 1.54 ERA over his last 4 starts. So he's been in good form. And 4 starts at home, he's been even better with a 1.23 ERA. He made 3 starts against the Yankees last year and had a 2.82 ERA and a 1.00 whip in those outings. So that's also extremely good. The problem is with Kikuchi is he's only averaging a little over 5 innings pitch per start, Andy, and a lot of that has to do with control issues. And the LA Angel bullpen has been brutal all season long, so you just can't depend on them. I'll get to that in a moment. The Angels have played 4-0 to the under in their last 4. They've scored 5 runs combined over their last 5. Clark Schmidt, who gets the start for the New York Yankees, 16-5 to the under in his career when facing teams like the Angels that get outscored by 0.5 or more runs per game, and that improves the 9-1 to the under if those starts were on the road. And the Yankees bullpen is not problematic. A 2.45 ERA, 1.36 whip over the last 7. The Yankees have allowed 3 runs or fewer in 5 of their last 6 games. So they're, the Bronx Bombers, as they're called, but their pitching has been extremely good of late. However, going back to the Angels bullpen, I'm not going to trust them. I'm going to trust the 2 starting pitchers. I'm going to trust the fact that the Yankees have played good defense, great pitching, and Kikuchi, I look for him to give us a good outing here over the first 5 innings of this game and wipe the LA Angel bullpen off the map, and let's shorten the game to 5 innings and go under the total of 4.5 in this contest over the first 5 innings.
The New England Patriots, polarizing team, I feel like, this year, Dan. Boy, is their schedule got a lot of bad teams on it. There's some really bad, teams. The tough games I have, I don't know. Week 2 at Miami. It feels like that game at Miami is always difficult
Always a
for New
tough
England.
trip.
Yeah. Week 5 at Buffalo. Week
Yep.
9 Atlanta, maybe. Week 10 at Tampa. Week 12 at Cincy. Who knows if Burrow's going to be in one piece by then. And then they have a late bye week. Week 14's their bye week. Then they go home Buffalo,
Yeah.
at Baltimore, at Jets, home Miami. They got this win total 8.5. Where are you going with this one?
Well, Andy, I think you did misspeak there because they do have 3 bye weeks. They do play the Jets twice, so we actually have 3 bye weeks. No, all joking
Shots
aside,
fired.
the Jets kind of doing the same as the Patriots, kind of restructuring. They bring in a new head coach, completely new guard. They ship out Aaron Rodgers. So we'll talk about that team when we get to them. The one thing I will say heading into this season for the Patriots is, I thought bringing in Mike Vrabel was the big no-brainer, right? Like, I thought that he was the best coaching option out there since leaving Tennessee in 2023. I'm surprised that he had, the year sabbatical. Maybe that was his decision. Maybe it wasn't. So I just look back because adding him as the head coach, I think it was destined to happen. He was always going to go back to the Patriots at some point. It's just how soon would it be? His first year when he took over the Tennessee job, that was, I believe, 2018. He did win 9 games that year. But the thing for me, Andy, was he was taking over a team that won 9 games in back-to-back seasons. He wasn't taking over a team who was negative 130 and negative 128 in scoring differential in back-to-back seasons. So there's a lot of work to be done here for this new Mike Vrabel era. However, that being said, you do have some talent on this team, right? I think first and foremost, you saw some flashes out of Drake May that I think you can be excited about if you're a Patriots fan. However, a lot of those flashes coming with his legs, we know maybe that's not the full recipe to success. You need that arm to follow a little bit. So they shore up, what they're going to do offensively. They addressed that in the offseason and what they did in the draft. So I think they're building the right pieces, and I couldn't agree with you more, man. First glance, you look at this schedule and you say, oh my God, this is a no-brainer over. They open with the Raiders. You got games versus the Jets, Panthers, Saints, Titans, Browns. Browns are currently favored to have the worst record in the league. They have 25 quarterbacks. Who knows if they'll have as many wins as they have quarterbacks at the end of the year. But then you touched upon it at the top, Andy. Sprinkled in are these like sneaky, tough matchups. I think you missed over the trip that they have to go to Baltimore and take on the Ravens. Yep. That Tampa Bay trip reminds me of that Miami trip that they always struggle with. So those tough matchups sprinkled in is why at 7.5, Andy, over. Right? I think they'll be around 8 wins. I think they'll definitely be more than the 4 wins they had last year. But at 8.5, dude, the only way I can look on this one is towards the under. I do think this could be a good team to be betting on when they're a dog against the spread, just on what Vrabel does year over year as a coach. When he's a dog, especially when he's a dog at home, give me those Vrabel spots. But as far as getting 9 wins, I think it's tough to find on this schedule, Andy. What do you think?
I'm with you.
We finally agree.
We agree.
We finally agree.
I can't get to 9 wins. This is a team that's gonna really beat up some bad teams, but then they're gonna struggle. They're probably another year away. I do think the coaching situation is miles better. I mean, that's what has to be one of the biggest upgrades in recent memory, going from that coaching staff to the other one. So Dan and I agree. We're gonna slightly lean to the under. Again, we're forced to make a pick. So these are not plays that we're playing with our own money. These are not client plays. We're just going through each team. So Dane and I agree that we're
finally
under.
Took 3 of them, Andy. But hey, comment below. Let us know which teams you want us to break down. We talked Eagles. We've talked Colts. We've now talked the Patriots. We listened to you. We were thinking of continuing the Sirianni tree and going with the Cardinals, but comment below. Let us know what teams you think are going over under, and let us hear what teams you want to break down. We'll do all 32 heading up to the season. Just when? Well, it's up to you in the comments. And while you're down there, like and subscribe. Thanks, Andy.